Perched high on a lonely hill in the small town of Junee, New South Wales, stands a mansion that time never truly let go of. Its wrought iron balconies and Victorian charm might fool you, at first glance, into thinking it's merely a relic of Australia's golden age. But once the sun slips beyond the horizon and the cold of night takes hold, the Monte Cristo Homestead awakens, and those who've stepped inside its walls often speak of the shadows that move on their own, voices from nowhere, and a sense that something, or someone, is always watching. This is not just a haunted house. This is a place soaked in sorrow, madness, and death. A place where the living were never meant to linger. Welcome to Monte Cristo. You are watching Echoes of the Past, a series where I dive into the chilling history and hauntings of the world's most paranormally active locations. I'm Rob, and I will be your host for this evening. This is the Friday Night Campfire Stories YouTube channel, where fear comes to life one story at a time. If you love history, horror, and the unknown, you're in the right place. Every week, I bring 3 full-length videos. Every Friday is the Friday Night Campfire Story, where I share a chapter from one of my original stories that you won't find anywhere else. Every Wednesday, we do an episode of Far From Fiction, which is my true crime series, and of course, every Monday is what you're watching now, my episode of Echoes of the Past, where history refuses to stay buried. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and pull your chair a little bit closer to the fire, because what you're about to hear is not a legend, it's history. And the echoes still call out from the Monte Cristo. Tonight marks a first for the series. Until now, every haunted location we've explored has been rooted in American soil. But as we step beyond the borders, we find that the dead don't care about geography. This next location may be far from home, but its horrors are far too familiar. Welcome to Australia's most haunted house, the Monte Cristo Homestead. Monte Cristo was built in 1885 in the rural town of Junee, New South Wales. The man behind it was Christopher William Crawley, a once struggling farmer who rose to wealth and status when the railway came to town. By sheer luck or fate, Crawley purchased the land that would become the site of the Junee railway station, transforming his fortunes overnight. He was suddenly the most powerful man in the district, and with that power, he built a home fit for his royalty. But as we know, not all fortunes come without a price. The mansion he constructed was a grand, elegant, and perhaps even beautiful by Victorian standards. But beauty can be deceiving. From the very beginning, there were whispers of cruelty behind closed doors, of rigid control, religious fanaticism, and household governed more by fear than love. And while Crawley was admired publicly, many who worked for him, servants, farmhands, and staff, lived under oppressive, even inhumane conditions. Some say the darkness began not with death, but control. A suffocating spiritual pressure brought by an iron will of Crawley's wife, Elizabeth. After her husband's death in 1910, she became a recluse, rarely stepping outside, and allegedly turning the home into a house of mourning and fear. She was said to be so religiously strict that her children were forbidden from social interaction, and her servants were punished for even the smallest offenses. Over time, the energy within the walls grew heavier, like the house itself was absorbing every scream, every tear, every quiet plea for help. Even in those early days, people who stepped foot inside spoke of strange feelings, a sense of being watched, of cold spots where no drafts existed. And so began the legacy of the Monte Cristo, a home built with ambition but filled with suffering. And that suffering hasn't stopped. If a house can hold memories, then the Monte Cristo Homestead is drenched in sorrow. Behind the grand staircase and beneath the polished floors death has left its fingerprints in every corner of the home. And it began early, long before the house had a reputation, when misfortune struck again and again and again. One of the most well-known tragedies involved a young stable boy who was found burned alive in the stable behind the house. Some say it was an accident, others whisper it was a punishment. Regardless of why it happened, the boy's screams were said to echo through the night, and to this day, visitors claim they can still hear them. Sudden shrieks, phantom cries from empty rooms, and a scent of smoke with no fire in sight. Then there was the nanny, said to have plunged to her death from the upper balcony while holding a baby. While the child survived, rumors spread quickly that she had been pushed, either by invisible hands of the house or by something far more human. No charges were ever filed, but in a home like the Monte Cristo, innocence is no protection. Inside the mansion, the Crawleys had a mentally ill son, kept hidden from public view. He was confined to a small, caged room for much of his life. Neighbors claimed to hear animal-like screams at night, not knowing someone was being treated like less than a human just beyond the homestead's walls. After the death of his parents, he was placed in an institution where he died shortly after. Many believe his restless soul returned home, back to the only place he ever knew. But the cruelty didn't stop there. Years later, in 1960, a caretaker was murdered on the property. A young man, reportedly obsessed with horror films and the supernatural, shot the caretaker in cold blood, claiming the house told him to do it. His final words at the time of the arrest was, "I had to obey. It was the will of the house." Even decades apart, each tragedy felt connected, as if the house itself had developed a taste for death. And maybe it did. Because while many buildings grow old, Monte Cristo only seems to grow darker. With every death, its reputation deepened. With every scream, its walls thickened with grief. And today, every creaking floorboard, every whisper in the dark, might just be one of them trying to be heard. Monte Cristo isn't just a relic of the past, it's a living testament to the supernatural. Over the years, countless visitors have reported chilling experiences that defy explanation. Here are some of the phenomena that has been reported at the Monte Cristo. Guests have frequently reported sightings of ghostly figures within the homestead. One of the most notable is a woman in a white dress, believed to be Elizabeth Crawley, who is often seen gliding through the hallways. Another apparition is that of a young boy, thought to be the spirit of the stable hand who met his tragic end on the property. These sightings are not limited to fleeting glimpses. Some visitors have captured these figures in photographs, adding a layer of credibility to the tales. The homestead is rife with unexplained sounds, disembodied voices, whispers, and footsteps that echo through the halls, often when no one else is present. Visitors have also reported hearing the clinking of chains, believed to be associated with Harold, the mentally ill man who was reportedly confined to the coach house for over 30 years. Many have experienced sudden drops in temperature, feeling of being watched, and even physical touches when no one is around. Some have reported being pushed or feeling an icy hand slip into theirs, particularly near the staircase where the tragic accident involving a child occurred. Objects have been known to move on their own, and lights flicker or turn on and off without explanation. Animals are more often sensitive to the paranormal activity, and the Monte Cristo is no exception. The Ryan family, who purchased the homestead in the 1960s, reported that their pets refused to enter the house. In a more disturbing instances, they found their animals mysteriously killed with no clear cause. Several photographs taken by visitors have captured unexplained anomalies. One such image shows a ghostly figure descending the staircase, while others reveal a face peering from the window where there's no one present at the time. These images serve as compelling visuals, evidence of the homestead's haunted reputation. Monte Cristo has been the subject of numerous paranormal investigations and has been featured in various documentaries and television shows, including Ghost Hunters International and My Ghost Story. These investigations have captured a range of phenomena from EVP recordings to thermal imaging anomalies, further cementing the homestead's status as a paranormal hotspot. In many hauntings, the spirits are fleeting, shadows lost in time, but not here. At the Monte Cristo, the dead have names, faces, and reasons to stay. The most prominent presence is that of Elizabeth Crawley, the matriarch of the estate. She was known in her life for her stern demeanor, and her hold on the property seems just as unyielding in death. Visitors often report her ghost appearing in the upstairs window or her former bedroom. Some even describe a cold, watchful presence, as if she's making sure everything is still in its proper place. Why does she stay? Some say it's devotion, others believe it's control. Perhaps she loved the house so much in her life, she refused to ever leave it. Then there's Christopher Crawley, her husband. While his spirit is less commonly seen, some investigators claim to have felt his presence in the study, where the air thickens and the temperature drops, as though a figure of authority still watches from the shadows. In life, Christopher built the home from the ground up. In death, he may still feel responsible for it. But not all spirits are dignified. The stable boy, believed to have died in a suspicious fire, is said to roam near the rear of the property. Guests have reported hearing footsteps, cries for help, and the smell of burning hay, often with no source in sight. His is a death wrapped in mystery, and his spirit in anguish. One of the most tragic spirits belongs to Harold, the Crawley's mentally ill son. He was reportedly kept in a tiny room for decades, neglected, mistreated, and isolated. To this day, people hear incoherent mumbling, crying, and scratching sounds from the coach house where he was kept. Some say his spirit is angry, while others believe he's simply still trying to be heard. And then there's the murdered caretaker, shot by a local teenager who claimed the house commanded to kill. The caretaker's spirit is said to be filled with confusion and unrest. People reported a shadowy figure darting through the hallways, followed by an overwhelming feeling of dread. Others claim to hear gunshots echo through the still night air, only to find no one is there. Each of these spirits carries a story etched into the walls of the Monte Cristo homestead. Some seek justice, others peace. But more than anything, they seem to just want to be acknowledged, to remind us that they were once alive, that this house was once theirs. And perhaps it still is. Monte Cristo Homestead isn't just a house, it's a mirror. A mirror held up to the past, fractured by time and tragedy. Its walls don't just remember what happened, they replay it. From the very first brick laid by Christopher Crawley to the sorrowful whispers of those who never left, this place stands a monument to grief, loss, and the lingering energy. It challenges what we believe about death and what comes after. Even skeptics have walked away from the Monte Cristo changed, not because of what they saw, but because of what they felt. A coldness that seeps into your bones, a presence that stares through you, a silence too perfect to be natural. This isn't just Australia's most haunted home, it's a place where time holds its breath, where the living and dead still brush shoulders in the dark. You don't just visit the Monte Cristo, you carry it with you. So next time you walk through an old house or feel something behind you, a brush of air, a cold spot, the sensation that someone is following you, ask yourself, is it just your imagination? Or have you brought a little piece of the Monte Cristo back with you? And that brings us to the end of tonight's journey into the haunting halls of the Monte Cristo Homestead. Thank you so much for joining me on this chilling exploration into one of the world's most haunted and most paranormally active locations, and the very first haunted location that I've covered outside of the United States. I hope that you guys enjoyed the history and the mystery and the ghosts that still linger at these cold Australian walls. If you are a fan of dark storytelling and psychological twists, don't forget to check out my latest book, A Perfect Journey Through Villainous Eyes, that is available on Amazon right now. It is a collection of 6 thrilling tales that take you deep inside the minds of those we usually fear the most. It's available now, and I'd love for you guys to give it a chance and read it. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I'm working on getting 1,000 subscribers by September, and with your support, I know that we can get there. I release 3 full-length videos every week, as I stated earlier. Echoes of the Past every Monday, just like this one. Far From Fiction every Wednesday, which is my true crime series. And the Friday Night Campfire Stories, where I share a chapter from one of my original stories with you guys every single Friday. So if you love a good scare, a dark mystery, or true tales that chill you to the core, you're in the right place. And as always, thank you for spending a little bit of your evening here with me.